Broker Bulletin acknowledges the traditional custodians of all the lands across the country on which we record our podcast and pays its respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Welcome to the Broker Bulletin podcast, where better begins. Join us as we chat with brokers about what's working for them, what drives them, and the real challenges and wins that matter most right now.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Broker Bulletin, coming to you here from the Growth Summit on the Gold Coast. I'm Mark Montalto, or Monty, as most of you know me by now, and I'm the National Head of Enterprise Partners at LMG. I'm tackling a question that keeps us up most at night. How do I keep my team engaged and up to date when the world's changing so fast? I'm lucky to be joined today, and how he's managing his team and doing an excellent job of it is Steve Harris, who's the General Manager of Nectar Mortgages. Steve, welcome to Growth Summit and the podcast.
And the fishbowl that we sit in at Growth Summit, which is excellent. It's good to be here.
Before we get started, I think it'd be remiss of me to not find out, give us a bit of background about Nectar Mortgages.
My favourite topic to talk about, wouldn't it? We've been around for 10 years now, or just over. Within the LMG group, we're a sub-aggregation business, if you like. We're a boutique aggregator. We have a branded team and a non-branded team. We have national exposure, so we're pretty much everywhere but Darwin these days. Team's about 160 people, was built on the basis of broker support. So built kind of by broker for broker, if you like. And the focus is always the team. I think, in a big world, what everybody wants is humanity. So we try and stay close to a team through the structures that we set up.
So how many staff would you have within Nectar?
I suppose 4 on the ground, you call them BDM/sales staff in Australia. Then we have a marketing and an admin team and sort of the core management business that would then, some of that's based out of Auckland. So it'd be 11 or 12, I suppose, all up that support it across those different factors.
So shout out to our Kiwi friends. Hope they're going well. Let's talk about managing a diverse broker network. With brokers having such different personalities, goals and work styles, how do you tailor your approach to keep them all supported and engaged?
Yeah, I think we always use the words, they are not a homogenous group, okay? Which is what you're saying. It's a diverse group. Yep. So what we're always looking for is different ways to engage that suit the individual. Now, we have a head licensee structure around the country, so very high level support. So it could be 1 to 10, no worse than 1 to 30 around the business. Then there's technology applied through that. So we have our own intranet sites and sharing platforms and training that we conduct. But I suppose everybody will find their own mix, and we don't expect that everybody does the same.
And without going into the secrets within the business, like your intranet platforms and that kind of stuff, do you celebrate wins? Do you celebrate, what do you share on those kind of
So we have our own scenarios line. So I don't encourage people to go outside of that and get involved in the sort of bank bashing stuff that can happen in other platforms. So ours is dedicated scenarios, has to be positive. It's got to be, on point. Then we have a communications platform, so an acknowledgements component to that. Yep. We would celebrate everything. People's birthdays, PBs, events, functions that we've run, all of those things get celebrated.
Yeah.
Seeing 40 people say happy birthday to somebody on their birthday on the platform is wonderful.
So it's like a big family, ultimately.
We try and be a big family.
Yep.
160, I still know it well. I know most of them. I'm talking them and their wives and then some of their kids' names, right? Yeah. So it is still a family.
Yeah, and I guess that helps with the engagement as well. So kind of knowing the family, knowing the people that work behind the businesses, because they're so important to the daily grind, I guess, that they go through as a broker. It's probably morphs into this next question. What are the biggest challenges you see in maintaining engagement across a broker network, and how do you overcome them?
When you've got such a diverse group, which all brokers are, and let's have a look at what brokers are. Brokers are time poor, focused on what's on their desk as a key feature of what they do. Some are tech driven, some aren't tech driven. Yep. So if you go, how do we maintain the process? It's deliver things the way they need them. Yep. And the only way to do that is kind of provide the quantity of options, if you like, and they'll find the quality within that. They'll engage where it suits them best. Yeah. But you've got to provide, be it email communications, sort of closed Facebook group style communications, text communications, PD days, coffee catch ups. It doesn't, you just got to provide it all. Yep. And let them select.
And do you find that there's people that really enjoy all of that, or there's certain select group? I suppose what I'm trying to say is there, a certain demographic that like coffee catch-ups? Is there a certain demographic?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Some like it all.
Yeah, and that's probably what I was getting to. Also do some like it all. So
some of the training that I do with the team is a bit random and off topic, but is around love languages and dealing with their referrers and how to do that in different languages.
Yep.
And we're talking about the same thing, right? It's how do they actually want us to engage? How do they feel the love?
Yeah.
And if you can work out how they feel the love, that's where they'll engage. If you're not talking to them in their language, you've missed the point.
And outside those coffee clusters, do you do something on a regular basis via Zoom or via some sort of technology?
Oh, you know the answer to this one. This is the leading question, everyone.
That's exactly I'm asking
a very leading question. So we've been doing either Zoom or Teams-based training for, 8 years.
Yep.
So long before COVID, we had that running. We do it twice a month. So second and fourth Wednesdays of the month, 2 till 3 o'clock or a little bit longer. One of those sessions is dedicated to improving your business, your skills, your sales skills, technology, whatever. And the other is banks, product. So we've been rotating that now for, I think I've been doing it for 8 years. I finally found a format where being, sort of ADHD and over the top works really well.
Yep. But everybody, and it was a leading question because I know your business, but everybody knows that that's locked into the calendar. They show up, they do what they need to do. So probably the next part of it is, the technology and how we, how do you deal with the technology and the change from that? So, technology is evolving quickly, and what are the key trends that you see brokers that need to pay attention to right now, and what are the opportunities and threats to them by not enabling that or engaging with them?
I mean, if we had this conversation and we didn't use the letters A and I, people would wonder why we didn't.
Yeah.
So AI is absolutely the opportunity, but that's like saying air is good. AI is going to be everywhere and everything. You're not going to be able to avoid AI. So it's selecting out the bits of AI that work for you and then focusing on that, doing one thing at a time. The analogy for me is AI is everywhere. It's air.
Exactly. And as part of a session here that we had at Growth Summit, and it's probably obvious, but, Siri's AI and Alexa's AI. So I think everybody's using it to some extent, and it's just embracing that.
And as you start to play with that, you've got to take your clients on that journey. It's a journey that you're going to go on as a broker, but you've got to take your clients on that journey. You turn up to a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting or whatever, Google Meet, whatever you want to do, right? And all of a sudden there's this extra person in the room on the screen that's called Read AI or Fireflies or whatever they are. Right?
Yeah.
Your client may not know what that is. That may be a very foreign thing. So explaining to them what technology you're using and why it adds value to them. Yes, it adds value to you. We get that. It can save you time. But if you're not taking your client on that journey, you've actually alienated them in that environment. So I think it's important to do the explanation and make it a path for all.
So from a head office level, I know you guys embrace that, but are your brokers really starting to embrace the AI? I mean, for the most part, you may not know all of what they do in terms of that, but for the most part, are the brokers within your network embracing that?
And some do, some don't. If you talk about a normal bell curve, early adopters, late adopters, okay?
Yeah.
We've got early adopters. We're going to have late adopters. So some are there and using it. Some are starting to play. Some are kind of in the thick of it now, which is great. Some aren't going to get there. It's just not going to be an environment for some. And that's okay. I think if we talk about it in terms of the client, not the broker, those that adopt the technology and are using it and are presenting it well to their clients and the clients are seeing their value, that's great. That guy that just wants to sit face to face with you, with their clients at a coffee shop and write things down with a pen and pencil has a customer base. There are customers that want that, and there will always be customers that want that. Yeah. So you don't have to force the AI, just work out where it works for you. And I think AI is, we talk about threats sometimes. What's the threat of AI? Is it going to take my job away?
Yeah.
Well, it's not. AI is your partner, very much. If you've started playing with chat, you know that you ask it a question and it gives you an answer and you can ask it to qualify it backwards and forward. That's a conversation. But if that conversation stops us having a proper conversation with our clients, because it gets in the way, I think that's its biggest threat.
Part of that has answered this next question in terms of, you've got some brokers are really quick to embrace that change and digital tools, while others are more hesitant. Bother's probably not the right word, but for the ones that are happy with the pen and paper, meeting a client at a coffee shop, just dealing like that, do you get them to really embrace the tech change, or do you just think that that's their way of working? Most likely they've worked like that for 10, 15 years, come from maybe a banking background. Do you just say, look, these are available, we're here to support you if you want to go that, or you just kind of leave them to their own devices knowing that they probably will never?
It's kind of a dip a toe in the water. So focus on what you're really good at and then dip a toe in the water elsewhere. Yep. Gus Balbert talks about it. So 3 different rings. It's really hard to explain it, but one close ring, one larger ring, and then one that's sort of out there. 80% of your time is going to be in that close ring for those people. That's pen and paper, writing stuff down, old school, okay? Yep. But I want them to do a little bit, like push themselves a little bit, and then occasionally reach right out and play with something stupid. And I'm not saying use chat to buy cryptocurrency, not that level of stupid, but just go and play with stuff because you can't break it and you can't hurt it.
Yeah.
So, and along the way, something will work.
Is there a correlation between a productive broker and tech and the way that they use the tech? Do you see that brokers that are using the tech are more productive and able to spend time on other things like business development opportunities, or do you think that it's not necessarily the case?
At this point, I'd suggest very few are really getting the benefits, but you want them to be having a crack, right? Yeah. So find one thing, work on one thing. If you try and put 6 different platforms on your phone all at once and think that that's going to work, it's not.
And that's going to be
it's going to get confusing. Process. It's going to alienate you from, I think, your client.
Yeah.
You're going to be so focused on how I use all this technology, you forget that you're sitting face to face with a human who's got wants, needs, concerns, stresses. Yeah. So stay focused and then use the tech in the background
to help you do your role.
To help you do your job. If you can do that brilliantly now, who says you have to change? But without knowing it, it's going to infiltrate. I mean, we're talking about a chatbot that'll be plugged into 6 different platforms. That's the only platforms it'll be allowed to go to.
Yeah.
So the broker can literally type in a question and get an answer. And it'll just be running off to where we want to run off to. Now, that's AI tech, and that'll save them time. Do they think of that as I'm using AI? Well, it's kind of, no, just type in a question to a chatbot.
But it's working subtly in the background and they're using it without even, it's like bribing your kids to eat something green and deep frying it and doing that type of stuff. So that way they eat it, but they don't know what they're actually eating.
I'm coming to your place for dinner, Monty. I can't have fried broccolini.
I can't guarantee that it tastes any good, but anyway, that's fine. And I guess this talks about it from a business point of view. And I guess my LMG, we provide the tech to your brokers, and you've kind of touched on it with the chatbot as well. But from a leadership perspective, what are you doing to stay ahead of the digital transformation and ensure brokers have access to the right tools?
Yeah, so we've partnered in this one, right? Yeah. So we went to market, 3+ years ago now, decided, so when the LMG purchase all came up, decided who our partner was going to be, and we chose LMG as our partner, right? Very conscious decision. So with that, we trust you for some of the tech.
Yep.
I think what we're doing, and your data's getting better and the reporting's getting better, what we're trying to do at our end is bring that to life and give it meaning. Having a statistic that says you convert it, 80% from lodgement to settlement is a fantastic piece of data.
Yep.
It means nothing without some perspective. Is that are there people at 100 and is the average 50? Because if the average is 50, I'm nailing it.
Yeah, exactly.
If the average is 90,
you're home.
I've got work to do. So, and then gamifying this stuff, like engaging with technology is now a gamification piece. Yeah. Yep. So why do you go on and use it? Where can it give you benefit? Where does it provide an insight? But where does it set some challenges and how do you play with it? So that's what we're doing at the moment, working out how we use technology to play with the team better.
And for the listeners out there, do you want to explain the gamification, whatever the terminology is? Yeah, that might be a foreign word to some people.
Some of the things that we could do. So we can set challenges, we can run competitions, we can look at the areas of the business where we think improvements can be made and then engage them in a game around that. Most new referrers signed, most new clients added to the database. Create a competition to drive them forward. Get them to play against each other, thus gamification. Get them to play against each other to get better results.
Yep.
As opposed to, some sort of KPI, top-down slap on the head if you're not getting things right.
Because, it's a friendly competition, and a lot of them, I guess, are salespeople too. See, they love that. They love that leaderboard. They love that, I can beat Joe Bloggs down the street, right?
Years and years and years of running monthly competitions. We call it high flyers.
Yeah.
We celebrate it every month. Now we're going beyond that. to celebrate. So pulling the data to expose PB. So when somebody has their best month ever. So all those things where you can sort of engage people is what we're looking at.
For me, this is probably a hard one to answer. I'm hoping you can give us a little bit of insight, what you think. But how do you see technology shaping the role of a broker in the next 5 years? And what should they be doing now to prepare for that?
It's almost a summary from what we've gone through, I suppose, if you think of it that sense. How do I see it? So the question really is, how does it shape brokers' role? We're at 76% market share for a reason. We can't lose focus on what that reason is. The reason is we engage with our clients better than banks do. Pure and simple. We do it better. Yeah. And we get the client because of that.
Yeah.
So tech really has to support that relationship, not overrun it, not impede it, not create hurdles for us.
Yeah.
It's got to aid it. And if that means you're testing in the background for a few months, playing around with things before you release, great.
Yep.
The challenge is that we lose the contact. And I think if we lose the humanity, if we lose the contact, we'll lose the market share. Banks have spent millions. You know who my least favorite bank is? Most of the industry does. Banks spend millions trying to create products that take the human out of the loan application process.
Yeah.
I think their success rate is 4 in 100 applications actually proceed. That if you start the application, actually gets through to the end. 4%.
Yeah.
Great waste of money. And I love that particular bank burnt that. I don't want us there. I want us face to face in whatever way that suits the client at the end.
At Broker Bulletin, we're all about finding those 1% improvements that lead to big wins. What's one small thing you do every day that has the biggest impact on your performance?
Okay, so we're talking me now. So this isn't the brokers, this is Stephen Jan. Okay, so I talk to the team every single day. I don't talk to everyone every day because that would be silly. We have that head licensee structure around the country. So I share with them, they share with their teams. Yep. But every day I'm solving a problem for somebody. Yep. I am never distant from the team and what they're doing. I suppose the reputation for me in the business is if the you-know-what hits the fan, call Steve because that's his job in life. So as long as I'm doing that, as long as I'm constantly communicating to the head licensees so the team hear the story, but then solving the problems, I think every day I do that.
Yeah, good. And I see it firsthand as well. We obviously interact a lot on a daily basis, and I can see that you help your brokers and your head licensees out a lot with all of that stuff because can be a lonely job. And I think at Nectar, you make it less lonely, if that's the right word.
Absolutely. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Brokers sitting around in their fourth bedroom crying when they get a clawback is not the world we want for our team.
So to wrap up, I guess the biggest takeaway that I take from all of this is, there's the digital tools out there, there's the support, but I think not one shoe fits everybody. You've got to be able to cater to everybody's needs and to a broker. And every broker is different, and we see that on a daily basis. So I think that's the big thing that I can see that's probably come out today. And I see that you do really well with your team. Is there anything else that you can add to that, or do you think that's...
No, brokers do a great job. Yeah. I mean, they do. Across our industry, brokers do a great job. The Nectar team does a great job. We got survey results going back 10 years to prove it. But our industry does a great job. So let's use the technology to continue to do a great job while we engage heavily with clients, not hide behind it or let it get in the way.
Yeah, or take it for granted.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we've got market share in the broker market because I don't think we've ever taken it for granted, the privilege that the brokers have in dealing with clients and solving their dreams. So thanks, Steve. Thanks very much for the podcast in this lovely booth at the Growth Summit.
Yes, it is. No, nobody can see, but, there's like 300 plus people out there having lunch while we do this, and everybody coming and taking photos. Yeah. It's interesting.
So thanks so much for listening. If you have a topic you want to discuss, please email us at brokerbulletin@lmg.broker or DM, there's some tech for you, or DM us on Instagram at lmg.broker, and we'll be able to answer it ASAP. If you like this podcast, please make sure you rate it and follow us in your favourite pod store. And no doubt this will be the highest rating podcast on Broker Bulletin. No doubt about it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Steve. Have a good one. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to Broker Bulletin. We would hate for you to miss an episode. Subscribe to Broker Bulletin in your favourite podcast app. Has this episode been helpful? We'd love you to rate and review us. It'll help us deliver content that's useful to you and help others discover us. If you have great ideas for topics worth tackling or have burning questions you'd like addressed on an upcoming episode, reach out. Links in the show notes. See you next time.